Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Tuesday, May the 6th. Starting off with Sam Bennett, there's no supplemental discipline. And I've seen debate online about this and whether or not there should be. And personally, I really am surprised there's nothing for Sam Bennett. I thought, to me, it looked like there was definitely, if not intent, it was reckless. So if the argument's not intent, then I thought it was a reckless play. I thought the fact that Stallars is stretchered off, he was in the hospital, we saw that he was throwing up at the Leafs bench as well, would play a role in this, but nope. If during warm-ups you decide to shoot a puck at the other team's net, it's a fine. Department of Player Safety wants nothing to do with it. If you injure the other team's goaltender and send him to the hospital, it's all right. I can't. I just can't. And I know there are people who say it's fine, it's not a big deal, but I thought that the resulting injury would have some kind of weight to it because that's one of the things that they talk about as influencing whether or not Department of Player Safety gets involved. Craig Berube is, also in talking to the press today saying the team needs to play hard and disciplined. And I'm sure he's going to be telling his players, look, you're going to want to go out there after Sam Bennett, but don't, because then with retribution comes some form of punishment as well. So yeah, Berube's going to have to basically steer his team towards, taking that energy and that anger towards a win rather than towards retribution. Sam Bennett was not made available to the press yesterday. He talked to the press today. Says he didn't know he made contact with Stallars until after the play. Says that he reached out to Stallars. That Stallars responded as well. I don't know what else could be said by the player. I wouldn't expect the player to say it was a bad play. I wasn't thinking in the moment. So I don't know what more we're going to get out of this, but it is another series featuring Florida, and we're talking about this yet again. And interestingly enough, and this again is Craig Berube talking this morning, saying that Stallars has not been ruled out for game two. I will say that a goaltender that's throwing up, taken out of the game on a stretcher and sent to the hospital for evaluation, highly unlikely to start a game a couple of days later, highly likely to be in concussion protocol. I'm not sure why the concussion spotter didn't pull Stallars as soon as that play happened with Bennett. I think that should have been an immediate pull for him. It has been noteworthy this year at points in time that they're not pulling players, not just goalies, but players out in situations where they had previously. I do wonder if, because in previous years there were times that you could see players arguing as they leave the ice, I'm fine, and then they'd come back into the game later and they'd complain that there was nothing wrong and they didn't know why they got pulled out and it wasn't a big deal. And so I do wonder if that's part of the reason why it feels like that the bar's been raised a lot as to whether or not they're going to take somebody out for concussion. But yeah, something really bad could have happened here if Stallars had taken, say, another blow to the head while already concussed. Just it's a nightmare scenario, and yeah, I'm not sure how ugly this series is going to get. It's really going to depend on how the Leafs respond in game two. They're up 1-0 in the series. They need to focus on winning the series and not on all of the foolishness being perpetrated by, in this case, by Bennett. There was stuff with Tkachuk people were talking about as well, and I was surprised, in all honesty, because I myself see Florida as being the better of the two teams. And if Toronto wins the series, great. I think that'd be awesome to see the Leafs in the conference final. But for people who are of the opinion that Florida is so much better than Toronto, then why engage in that? Why go out there and engage in that kind of stuff where you're, little shots after the whistle and, slashing players and stuff like that? Why do that? If you're so much better than they are, that really shouldn't be part of it. So, yeah, we'll see how this series goes. I have a feeling that we'll be talking about stuff after game two, after game three, I just feel like that's going to happen again. So, getting into some other news from around the National Hockey League. Andrew Brunette, staying as coach for next season for Nashville. Barry Trotz confirming this. I'm not surprised. Barry Trotz was coach of Nashville for a very long time. And I think one of the lessons from that was that making a change behind the bench just because a team underachieves isn't necessarily going to turn things around. We've seen some teams in the NHL that have quite the carousel going behind the bench, and it just causes a lot of uncertainty And in this case, I don't know that it's Brunette's fault that the team underachieved this past season. And so he gets a chance to fix it next season. So we'll see how things go there. The New York Rangers confirmed coming out of the draft lottery, they are picking 12th. Now, where it gets interesting is they can choose to send that number 12 draft pick to the Canucks. Sorry, they traded that to the Penguins. Or it's an unprotected draft pick in 2026. So I'm guessing they'll send the number 12 pick to Pittsburgh just in case. You do not want to lose a first round draft pick next year that could end up becoming a pretty big name, right? We don't know for sure that the Rangers bounce back next year. They should be a playoff team next year, but there's no guarantee with that, and I don't think teams are going to want to move draft picks next year. I think first rounders are going to be held on to for the most part next season, at least up until trade deadline. I'd be kind of surprised if any 2026 firsts get moved. So yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. Matinpalo signs a 2-year extension with the Ottawa Senators, $875,000 cap hit for Matinpalo. He, of course, also played at Four Nations, so yeah, he gets himself an extension with the Ottawa Senators. I think it's a fair deal, and it's depth on the blue line, right? So, yeah. AHL score from last night, Texas beat Grand Rapids 4-2, so Texas is up 2-0 in that series. They have a chance to sweep Grand Rapids next game out. So, and just, there are certain AHL teams that I might be kind of surprised. Dallas, their farm team in Texas has had its struggles over the years, so it'd be nice to see them go on a bit of a run if this is the case. Tonight, we have Cleveland in Laval. Laval up 2-1. However, Cleveland did win the last game. Now Cleveland's going to be looking to force a 5th game and really put that doubt in the minds of Laval. San Jose in Colorado, this one in Colorado. The Eagles looking to go up 2-1, while the Barracuda are hoping they're the ones to go up 2-1 in that series. So 2 games tonight in the AHL, and I know for sure there's at least one tomorrow because that's Abbotsford's Game 3 against Coachella Valley, and it will be directly competing with the Winnipeg Jets Dallas game. So I feel bad for my wife on that one because, you know, the Jets are in the second round and she's going to be at the Abbotsford game. So we have 2 games tonight in the National Hockey League, one at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, and then one 2.5 hours later, meaning the puck drop in Vegas will probably be closer to 6:50 Pacific, 9:50 Eastern. So 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Carolina and Washington, game 1. These teams not having met in the playoffs since 2019, which was their only other meeting. And it'll be interesting to see who scores first. It feels like with this series, who scores first is going to be really, really important because both of these teams can play a really solid defensive game. So, yeah, game 1's really important here, but that first goal, I think, is going to be key for that series. And then at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Edmonton in Vegas. This should be an amazing series. Really, really looking forward to this one. The Edmonton Oilers will be looking to steal one early. Vegas will be looking to maintain home ice advantage by winning games 1 and 2, which would start with the win in game 1. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. You can let me know who you think is going to win the games tonight. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And so once again, we'll see with the Florida-Toronto series how game 2 plays out. I think the best thing that Toronto can do with that, though, is just Department of Player Safety did not end up bringing out any discipline. You can certainly put somebody out there to drop the gloves with Bennett. I'm sure Bennett will oblige. Outside of that, I don't know that there's much else that we're going to see from this. And for people who are going to say, oh, they could run Bobrovsky, they could, but I guarantee you that if they run Bobrovsky, and if it's quite obvious it's intentional, then we will see Department of Player Safety get involved. We could very well see a suspension there. And then that just ratchets up the series, and it can lead to more ugliness. So I wouldn't recommend that personally. But thank you guys so much for all your support as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys for your support. I will talk to you again soon.